When observing teachers in the classroom, I've noticed some common mistakes that many make without even realizing it. These might seem like small errors, but they can significantly affect how effective your lessons are and over time hinder your students' progress. So here are the 5 most common mistakes that I see. Number 1, not being consistent with rules. Every teacher knows how important it is to set rules on the first day of class. If we don't and leave it for later, like a week later, those rules will be much harder to enforce since students will have already picked up habits that are harder to change. Even when teachers do set rules on the first day, one mistake they make is not being consistent with them or only being consistent for a very short period of time. For example, if I have a rule that students must raise their hand to talk and then some students talk without raising their hand and I don't remind them, students will slowly realize that there are no consequences for breaking those rules. This will lead to students not following them, and next time you try to enforce a rule, it simply doesn't work. In many cases, your class will become chaotic. So remember, whatever rule you give them, make sure there are consequences when they break them. Number 2, lack of praise. One of the most common mistakes teachers make is focusing only on what students do wrong and rarely acknowledging what they do right. For example, if students don't do their homework, teacher will be quick to point it out and confront them. However, a student who brings their homework to class every day will probably go unnoticed. This can lead to students feeling unappreciated, and those who seek the teacher's attention might start acting out because they know that it will make you notice them. To change this, try to observe their efforts and praise them more often. Number 3, giving meaningless rewards. We all know how students like being rewarded, and in many cases, it is a good way of showing that we value their efforts. However, many teachers reward students with gifts that have little value or won't give them a lasting feeling of achievement, like candy. Candy is the most popular reward, yet the least effective since it doesn't relate to learning, and once it's eaten, there's nothing left to remind them of their effort. Instead, consider giving a nice pencil, a cute eraser, or an educational material. Number 4, too much teacher speaking time. Most lesson plans I check lack a crucial component for practicing the language, speaking activities. And even those that do include speaking activities often don't provide students with enough time to practice their speaking skills. Remember that students usually only have our classes as an environment to practice speaking. So our lessons should incorporate activities where the teacher explains what they need to do, and once the activity starts, the students should be doing most of the talking. The teacher should only walk around the class, monitoring and jumping in only when necessary. This is what we call the 80-20 rule, as we have explained it in a previous video. Number 5, not providing clear instructions. One of the critical aspects of teaching is ensuring that students understand what they're supposed to do. Often teachers assume that their instructions are clear, but students might still be confused. This can lead to wasted time and frustration. To avoid this, make sure to give step-by-step instructions, check for understanding by asking students to repeat what they need to do, and be available for questions before the activity begins. Clear instructions lead to smoother activities and more effective learning. By avoiding these common mistakes, you can create a much more efficient and productive learning environment for your students. Happy teaching!